JB here. Hope everyone's doing outstanding. February 24th, 2025, 3:20 on this Monday. Talk quick about the markets. Some of the names I'm looking at go from there. But S&P trading spies right at that 600 handle. We opened at highs. SPY ran up to 603 and then sold off. And it's like, oh, deja vu all over again. Here we go. More selling, no catalyst. Uh, SPY dropped all the way down to from 603 down to 596.48 by 10 o'clock, and then found a little bounce back down to lows of 11. Found a bounce up to the 600 handle. Been chopping here ever since. So I guess a good thing we're not down another 1% here today. We still have 48 more minutes left in the trading day, 38 more minutes. Um, Yields are lower, the dollar's lower. So I mean that I think that trend continues. I think that should at least support markets. I'm not saying we're going to rally 15% from here. So maybe some consolidation. Uh, and we'll have to see how things play out. Same token, I put on the watch list. If we broke under 600, I'm getting some kind of hedge position. So I did that early. I'll talk more about that. After the close, we have earnings. So I mean, him and hers is kind of like the one that's the moment is the most talked about name. Yeah, TEM, you have Riot, CLF, Zoom. Nobody really talks about Zoom. I'll talk about him and hers in a second. Uh, but that's kind of the setup there. So the SPY also the 50-day moving average 598.77 got down underneath that for a little more than an hour and then bounced above it. So it held. So as long as that continues, I think that bodes well for upside. All right, so now individual names. So first I'll talk about. I was watching the financials last week, and it was Thursday and Friday. Thursday was the bigger move, selling off on no news or catalyst really per se, and uh, the all the names: Goldman Spectacular, Citigroup, J.P. Morgan. They were down 3-4%, and they had just hit highs on Tuesdays, the previous Tuesday. So well, actually, one, two. I'm trying to figure out the days, but. Uh, well, yeah, that was Thursday. Yeah, Thursday. And then Friday it was continuation. And then I'm watching today. Once we broke 600 a SPY, I'm looking for some hedge positions. And if you look at names that have not really had huge sell-offs like some of the momentum names have so far, it's the financials. So take a look at JPM. The calls are inexpensive, but excuse me, the puts are inexpensive on a risk reward basis, and I think they would offer protection if there's some fall through on the sell off. So I got some hedge puts by 945 or what have you. They were close to a double. In hindsight, maybe I should have locked some in, but I'm holding them as. I mean, great if they make multi bags, right? Because if there's a big sell off, obviously those will probably pay off pretty well. But same token, they're kind of like a hedge, so I can get at least start to nibble on some other call positions. So I held on to those. Once it broke down to 258, it bounced with the rest of the market, and it's been chopping between 261, 262. I'll continue to hold those put hedges into tomorrow at the minimum, just in case there is some weakness here. And again, the SPY's under 600 right now, so and back in the red. If we start to have pressure into the close, I just don't like that setup into tomorrow in regards to the market. So that's why I'd like to have a hedge there. So that's one. Two is the sweet green. I haven't talked about it really a couple times on the audio and not on the watch list, but it reports earnings Wednesday. Name has been absolutely cut in half since December, and some of these high flyers have been cut in half. Kava is very similar to Sweet Green. Both have bowls, right? Kava is more Mediterranean style, more locations. Sweet Green is more sourcing, healthy lifestyle, salads, not any specific style. So still a great story as well. Growing, I mean, the thing about Sweet Green and you compare it to Kava, it trades at a substantially lower multiple. I think it's like 4 or 5 times revenues, where Kava trades like 10, 11 times revenues. Obviously, a little different growth rate, so maybe that's some of it. But in a nutshell, I think there's an opportunity at least for a bounce. So, got some March strikes. The plan with the March strikes is not. I mean, I would love to hold through earnings, at least to have a few. So to ride them up, and they were solidly green before. It just dropped down here to 23. I can see what they are now. Is to be able to lock some or all of them before earnings. If I can get them out some out for 100%, they're just slightly green now. If I can get some out for 100%, I'll probably ride a couple into earnings. But you take a look, and it's it's a great story. So, and their last earnings, I think maybe there's disappointment in their revenue growth. I think it was like 13%. They've been accustomed to a much higher, I think 20% plus. So that could be some of it. We'll see how it plays out, but it. I was looking to get calls at the open. It was 22 and change, and then the market pulled back and it was under 22. It was 21. I think at 21.45, and then it started to bounce. And then once it started getting back into 22s, I said, "Oh, here's my chance." The calls were less expensive than they were at the morning, so got those, and I'll hold those into tomorrow. So that's Sweet Green. Other names, I mean, Teladoc is strong. Well, it was stronger early in the day. Actually, it's kind of flat right now. Almost tested $12. Again, they have earnings on Wednesday, Redfin's on Thursday. Still like both of these names for upside. Which bring Hims and Hers. So Hims and Her, well, Hims, well, it is Hims and Hers, but Hims is the ticker. Reports close earnings after the close today. 14% implied move. They have telehealth too, so I don't know if that's gonna have any impact on Teladoc. But with Hims and Hers, the big move on Friday was because of the FDA decision to finally take these GLP-1 drugs out of shortage status, which means that Hims and Hers is not going to be able to sell the knockoff brands in a while. So I don't know how that all plays out. But Hims and Hers is going to report a monster quarter. It's going to be like insane EPS, insane revenue, similar to what I used to see. Brought up more Moderna, however you pronounce it, mRNA, uh, on Friday with the chatter around a new virus. But similar back in the day, you had Pfizer and mRNA were getting these huge revenue windfalls because they were the chosen to do the vaccines, right? So I'm not Hims and Hers not getting, it's not an exact similar apples to apples comparison, but with this ability to have a knocked off brand version, uh, less cost to meet the demand. I mean, it's like a it's a windfall for them. And if that goes away, that's some of the reason why the stock has struggled. So it's not a name I'm gonna trade. Of course, I wish I got it from $30 all the way up to 70, but same token, I'm sure people were saying $100 and then you got caught with your pants down, right? Uh, I mean, it could just as easily go back to $30. So not a name I'll trade, but hopefully there's positive read through on the telemedicine side, the virtual stuff, and maybe that helps put a bit into Teladoc. Also reporting tomorrow's Travel Zoo, and I keep looking. I was looking at the strikes. The spreads are just almost unplayable. And not that I'd be looking on Travel Zoo to get out right away, but like I'm more if they have earnings tomorrow, so it's a binary event. So I'm not looking to get in and out before the earnings. But some of the spreads look tough, and I was looking at the March 20s, the 30 by 80. I mean, the stock is from $24. Did it hit 25? Just in a matter of like 2 weeks, 24 all the way down to 17. So even if the company reports like an inline quarter, you're like, how much is that? That's probably baked in already. And then I don't think any of their new possible membership revenue, I don't know if they're going to give guidance or data on that is priced in whatsoever. So if I, I'm a little jittery on the market right now, so I don't want to be aggressive adding call positions. But I was kicking myself for missing Solar Edge last week, kicking myself for missing Unity. So I don't want to sit here and you try and FOMO another trade. That's not what I'm trying to do. But if there was a setup, it certainly looks interesting. So Travelzoo reports tomorrow. I'm trying to think some of the other names this week. Uh, and then we have PCA data on Friday. So I mean, there's just and I think it's 721 companies reporting. So there's a lot of companies. Riots after the close. Tomorrow's HD. So we got Home Depot, more retail. Uh, yeah, trying to think of some of the other ones here. Oh, and Kava reports Tuesday after the close, so that could certainly put wind in the sails of SG. Anyway, iRobot's down 12% here today. And no news, no catalyst. Just it's like lost its mojo for now. I'm not gonna try and add any more strikes just yet. But if it does start, find a bid tomorrow maybe or the next day. I was hoping it was going to hold its 50 and 200-day moving average. It didn't today. Maybe it resumes that tomorrow. Yeah, it's funny. If you read like the stories and the mission statement and things like that on Kava and Sweet Green, it's like they took the Chipotle blueprint around sourcing fresh ingredients, uh, local ingredients, things like that, and then healthy lifestyle, and then they just took that on, right? So they took that template and then incorporated it into bowls, right? Salads, Mediterranean salads, things like that. So it's pretty interesting stuff. If you read the Sweet Green, I think they had news because some of their sources were affected in the California fire. Anyway, that's that. I don't want to talk too much about Roku. It's actually green solidly today. It's funny. It's like days like today. It seems to be the one that outperforms, and then we'll rally 1%, and the stock will be down 5%. So probably best for me not to waste energy on that one in the foreseeable future, unless I see an opportunity, maybe an analyst upgrade, something like that. Um, yeah, Exogen's another name I would keep looking at. I think I mentioned a couple weeks ago. I think they report earnings this week. One of my favorite stories over the years, like a nerve regeneration or rebuilding company. So they try and repair nerve damage, and there's not many companies out there that do that. I don't think there's any. So they have FDA approved grafts or some to that effect already, and it's a company that has had problems in the past executing and doctors and things like that, and now maybe it's on the cusp. So I was looking back after its last earnings for possible calls, and then it's one of those names that have scarred me because the name ran all the way up to I think the $40, and then it went all the way back down. Uh, and then I start looking. I'm like, wow, the Aprils look interesting, but don't be surprised. That's a name I add to the watch list at some point. And then last but not least is the bio. Some of the I wouldn't call mega cap names, but some of the larger biotech names are rallying this morning. Regeneron was up over 2%. I don't know if it's they're presenting data. Let's see what I have. Do I? Biogen, which was solidly green earlier this morning, is back down, but that was up. VRTX, Gilead. Well, VRTX is back in the red. Gilead sold off a little bit, still 111, but interesting stuff. So that's it, folks. Let's have a great afternoon. I'll be back rock and roll.